Happy New Year. Have fun now because shift's about to hit the fan.
We're talking about a new cycle and the next step to being your new, true, authentic self coming up.
I don't just talk stuff and repeat stuff. I'm living this stuff.
And you can thank me for covering your Astro.
Hello, welcome to Leading Out Loud, the spiritual shift show that's sassy and spiritual. I'm psychic astrologer Christopher Witecki, the sensei to Sirius Joy.
And I'm Scott Cruz, psychic medium and mentor with scottcruzpm.com. So we didn't have last week. So how are you feeling? What was the whole shabazz last week?
Can't even remember, to be honest with you. I can't even remember. I've had so much stuff, what you just said. But I'm clearing out, man. This last Capricorn 2 weeks was all about bulldozing what doesn't work and rebuilding from scratch. Mm-hmm. I had to start over with scheduling and stuff. I just grew too much, and so that's where I'm at. And that's for me, 6th house. But I had a lot of tests go happen. I mean, a lot of tests, little tests going on. Yeah, but I think for myself, I don't know about you, but I feel these are final tests. Like this is me checking off the list. Like this is not going to be a problem anymore. I can't make this a problem anymore. You know, the respond differently thing. And I feel like it's working. We'll see. How about you?
That's good. I mean, I guess you don't know until you come out the other side, right?
It never comes out the other side.
Yeah, you know, I just first time during Capricorn season to work on editing and to work on, you know, mixing and all that structural stuff. So I've really been focusing on a lot of that stuff with my work and stuff. So I've just been to kind of like not trying to overexert right now, letting things come. So, but yeah, I'm actually in the middle of like editing music and mixing. And so all that stuff could be very fucking annoying, but redundant, you know, but yeah, but I feel like at the same time, there's excitement coming after that about like, I can release, I can express, you know, so that's kind of where I've been very busy in that regard.
Yeah. I mean, I had my biggest event of the year is the countdown 2026. And so I just had this last weekend and I slid into home and slept for a day, and I'm finally past my biggest hurdle, but that was the last thing on my schedule that was crazy scheduled. You know what I mean? That event, and just not with enough time and preparation. So for me, I feel like $1 million, even though I have a ton of stuff to do. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to schedule this year to be sane and just, you know, focus on quality of life and then what's possible. Because I know how to do it now. I feel like I know how to do it after my 20th year. And this is my 20th year anniversary, dude. I'm 20 years. Be on YouTube? On step 28. I mean, this year, the new moon is on my 20th anniversary of being on the internet doing horoscopes.
Horoscope, astrology. It's the astrology.
It was Soul Horoscopes, which we're going back to that name. So Namaste today.
Really?
Going back to Soul Horoscopes, the original name. Yeah.
Interesting.
You know why? It tells you what the show is. Namaste today is like, what are you talking about? But, so there's that kind of thing. So yeah.
Got to rebrand the word, because you think horoscopes, you think like the cheesy Inquirer, Sun magazine, you know what I mean? Like when you said use that word horoscopes, like we have to like rebrand it. Just like even the word psychic, had to rebrand the word psychic, because then people think Cleo and all this other crap. So for a while, I didn't even want to use the word psychic because of that. And I'm just like, I just got to embrace it. I got to be part of the rebranding, you know, of these terms, you know?
Well, yeah, I like reinventing, you know, like for me, honestly, with the way YouTube is going, I mean, and the way it's going is this, it's like, you know, they're shadow banning. Like they're not telling people we're on the air. And so people aren't told. They write us and say, you used to be told when you go on the air, and now we're not. And so it's crazy. You spend and build, a huge audience for them. And then they don't even let you email your own customers and your own followers. You can't even email your own followers, right? You have no access to like spend, technology to actually reach out to them and create a relationship of your own. YouTube puts itself, cock blocks that basically. So we're at a point where it's like, okay, we can't survive like this. We're gonna have to make some big changes.
Yeah. Well, I also think too, like, if you're not doing sensationalized content, it's like not really going to be pushed as well. If you're not doing like stupid fails and political stuff and polarization stuff and all that, then usually the algorithm is not going to push it. If you're not doing sensationalized stuff or going against the grain, usually they don't really favor pushing that because not many people are looking for that or clicking on it. And I think people will start now looking for more, but I just think that's how the algorithm has been, and kind of like whatever people are sensationalized over, creates a bigger buzz.
The world's changing. I mean, I'll tell you from Countdown 2026, like this world's going to be a trip. This year's going to be a trip. I mean, I hadn't looked at them. I had to wait till after New Year's to actually dive into all the data for the year. And when I saw it, my mind was blown in the sense of, first of all, just the miracles that I've never seen in astrology ever. This is the first we've had 5 planets of the sign since like 83. So we haven't changed much in 1 year since 83. And 83 was, I think, the year when everything did change. That the 70s were dead at that point. Studio 54 closed. That kind of thing. But at the same time, we've never had this. We did some research as far as when Neptune and Saturn were together in Aries. Can't find it. It's like, the math goes back and we just can't find it. It's been a long time since they were close to each other even. So there's a lot of unique astrology happening. And then the synchronicity is crazy. Like literally a new moon eclipse that's exactly the same degree and exactly the same minute. Exactly. And they're both the same nets. It's just like, really, we think it's the reboot of reality. We think we've come up with that. I think there's going to be a reboot. I mean, I don't know. Actually, let me give you I'll give you a date next episode. I'll give you a couple of dates. I want you to just tell me what you see.
Yeah, that'd be cool too. I just feel like we are in obviously always in a cyclical nature. So I feel like we're starting a new cycle, and it's collectively. Of course, we've been doing it a lot individually. So it's different from the past. For me, 2026 feels different than the past 6 years. I think since 2019, things have really kind of got very heavy. And so, and every year I'm just like, oh, here's another fucking heavy year. Like I've nothing, until 2026, I'm like, oh, it seems lighter. It seems innovative. It seems inspired, more about discovery, finding a place. So, finding placement for things. So yeah, there seems to be like an uptick in the trajectory. So I think that's pretty cool.
Oh, good.
So, and I've gotten to depth. And I've gotten into depth on my live show about, kind of the overall nature and predictions for 2026. There's always going to be chaos. And I think that's one thing that we'll see in our external world, that things are shifting. That there'll still be chaos within the world and stuff, but like you will start noticing that we're becoming more unified in the process, and things actually changing in our favor. We'll start seeing more glimpses of that starting this year.
I think it's a new world order, KNEW. And when I say new world orders, I mean, I literally think that the people taking over the earth will be people who are aware of past lives that are awakening, and they remember when they fell the last time, and there's going to be a push to build the new, like crazy innovation, technology, creativity, like a renaissance of creativity and whatnot. At the same time, what we started seeing with Venezuela. I mean, that is, we'll talk about it in the headline, but like that's a very bad sign, to where people can be, and this is what I think they mean by the frequency wars, on eggshells, just worried about what could happen because the things happening are so profoundly out of the ballpark what we're used to, where we don't have the coping skills emotionally to deal with it.
A lot of people, a lot of people don't. Might be not at that much coping skills at all at this time. But I think that's what the job of light workers are to do, is to bring an outlet to that. And I would used to say to myself, like, I'm just doing stupid repetitive videos about the same topics. It's like, yeah, but I think people need that consistency of cope, and they need to see like, oh, here's that message again, here's that simple spiritual read, but they just need, a lot of people need a reminder of that. I always feel like we're being cheerleaders. The information, it's not anything profound or groundbreaking, but you just see people that will be the cheerleader, you know what I mean? And so
give me a cheese.
Yeah, right. But we all need that. We all need someone to keep reminding and push and encourage. So, yeah, my perspective has shifted. I'm just like, oh, we hear the same thing about self-love. It's like, well, a lot of people need to be reminded of that, through their day.
Honestly, that's how Sirius Joy works, is that, and we've seen it, it's 10 years old. It's like, we remind you every day with a text message, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again. And just like, it's like straightening teeth. You're just like slowly, your consciousness like slowly gets to the center and finds its center again. And people say usually like 3 months, like, oh my God, I was in a cloud. And just the metronome of it, people need it. But it looks like people are going to have to wash their own brain, because there's going to be things happening so powerfully emotionally that your mind will not understand what's happening. I feel some of the stuff I've gone through, this final test of the last chapters that you just lived. It's an intense moment, but mostly what it is just it's all this new stuff, and can you handle it?
Yeah.
A lot of new stuff, crazy stuff. So let's go to the headlines. Actually,
Speaking of crazy stuff,
read the first one, buddy.
Speaking of crazy stuff, nationwide protests and I skipped down a little bit. Sorry. U.S. military raid Caracas, Venezuela, and capture President Maduro. Okay, the former president and his wife were transported to New York, where he faces federal charges including narco-terrorism, conspiracy, drug trafficking, and weapon offenses stemming from a 2020 indictment. So, I mean, okay, here's my perspective on that. And I don't care about what people's perspectives is on it or not. I can give two shits at this point anymore. But I really feel that all because one dictator wants to take over some country and defeats another dictator doesn't make him a peace god. Okay, so our country wants oil and wants the oil, and then now we find out the oil is not valuable. So what a waste. But of course, there's a good part of the fact. Okay, well this Venezuelan dictator has been taken down, so it's a good part of that. But that wasn't our intention, initially to do that. Especially with trying to take over Greenland, and so there's just a lot of that power struggle, I would say, going on. But but there's also, I always say, even when there's a negative, there's always going to be some sort of a positive in there. And this is, to me, the positive, like, well, at least the Venezuelan people are happy they don't have that dictator any longer in their country. So, but we'll see how that progresses.
My guy says, I don't know what the truth is. He may or may not be a dictator. We can't trust our own media. We can't trust any reporting that's going worldwide. I think there's, it can be faked easily. I mean, I've talked
to Venezuelans, and they, it's been pretty bad. It's people who actually lived in Venezuela, and from Venezuela.
I'm just saying we can't assume we know anything. Like, I think as citizens, we have to come from a different angle than relying on what we're told per se in that sense. Because I think we have to be careful. We've been manipulated always. We have to listen to our heart.
We look at policies. You have to look at things that, the rights and freedoms people have or don't have. And I think that's kind of indicative of whatever's going on in the country,
I can't, I don't know. The United States has got some gall. I mean, at the end of the day, some of us, like we just landed, we did the same thing with Obama, and we landed in to pick up Osama bin Laden, who was even real. Like, who did 9/11? Was it him? Really? Like, he was an operative. He's on our payroll. Like, it's so messy. And then I think whatever country he was in, I can't remember now. We just landed there without permission. Our troops got him out of there and took him, and then allegedly threw his body in the ocean. Okay, no video footage of that at all. Why? Right? I
remember like CNN back in the day too did a secret private, and you can still find this to this day, an interview with bin Laden in his hideout. I'm like, okay, so our government can't find him and capture him, but a reporter has access to interview him in his secret hide. I mean, it just seems so. What are we told everything? And so, of course, we can't assume everything is. And so many people hold on to whatever they're reading. I always take a consideration and ask myself, it's most likely the case based on other information. But so many people hold their, what they read so as Bible. But it says it. I heard it on news. I heard it. It's like, oh my God! Like,
it's amazing how people. My brother and I get in this fight all the time. He's like, because it's the news. I'm gonna say, dude, how many people do you say are incompetent that you work with? How many companies do you work with that are incompetent all the time? You're telling me how incompetent everyone is. You mean the fucking news is like competent? Why don't we question that? Like, why? Because I've worked for it. I've seen some of the insides of it. I'll tell you, here's the bad thing about it, is that we just set a precedent. Is what happened. We set a precedent that it's okay to just, I don't know what the record is. I don't know if he was, wanted criminal or whatever. I'm sure we've got warrants out for arrest of Putin. I don't know if it's cool to just like set the standard of you can go, kidnap a president.
Right. Well, and again, we know the whole purpose was for the oil, but and then here we find out the oil is actually not valuable. So Exxon won't do it because it's not good oil.
It's definitely good oil. I think, again, I don't trust that because it's flooding the markets. That's
what Exxon's saying, that they would not sell or use it because it's not quality. So that's what Exxon was saying. So
maybe they want to spend the money because
we're just using quotes of what they were saying, But
it's like, it costs us $1 a gallon to clean that stuff. It's not worth it. We want our billions of profit. But anyways, here's the next thing. It's kind of similar. Let's roll in, I guess. Trump declares that the U.S. is now in charge of Venezuela. Legal experts, opposition officials, and global actors have questioned whether U.S. actions, including military force without UN authorization. UN. No, UN doesn't authorize stuff, by the way. Not for our country. I just had to stop right there. Violates international law. There's this push for international law, guys. There's no international law, okay? Obviously, if there was, everyone, and we were worried about it, we'd all be good. And we're not. There's a push for UN and to make these agreements under UN, but they're very light agreements. If they decide there's no enforcement, but there's been this like propaganda, especially during COVID, where like the UN could come in and like take over a region because of disease. No. I've been just like a strong no on that. But anyways,
I'm very just fascinated how so much we're talking about global affairs and meddling with global affairs as we always have. America's always been the Darth Vader to other countries. I think it's really interesting how we're being not so focused on our own country, but we're meddling with all these other countries. And whatever happened to America first, that's not really happening. Except our current citizens are issues with healthcare and not focusing on due process with current citizens. So it's just a mess. It's a complete mess. But as I said, I tell this to many people, I'm not in favor of this current administration, but I'll say we need this administration because we need a disruptor. And this administration is a disruptor for people to snap their eyes open, to come in and start realizing what's important to us. So as much as I'm not in favor of what's going on, it needs to happen. So I'm betwixt myself as far as a duality of I don't condone what's going on, but it needs to happen. You know what I'm saying? So more and more people are starting to see more and resurrect more. So but the next one,
as far as Trump declaring they were in charge of Venezuela, I see Trump a different way than everyone else. I think he's been sent by the universe to reveal where everyone's fucking up, like to show where presidents do and Congress. And it's like, here's the truth. The U.S. declares it's now in charge. The truth is that when we occupy a country, we're not technically in charge, but we take over. We do. Our military goes in there. We do take over. Like look at Baghdad and look at how long we were in Iran and how we took over there and messed it up and killed people. We always take over. And so in a way, he's like saying, as always, we're doing it again. So I bet we're in control of a lot of stuff there.
Yeah, that's what I mean about disrupt. That's what I mean about disruptor. Like we need more of this. We need this overt energy for us to like snap out of it and see through it. Even though I don't agree with how it's being done, it's like, but we need it. So that's where I stand on all that. So, Moscow rejects U.S. claims of control of Venezuelan oil. Russia is officially insisting that its oil assets in Venezuela remain legally its property and will continue to be developed. So,
Russia wants that shitty oil.
Yeah. What's that?
Russia wants the shitty oil, apparently, Yeah,
hey, oil's oil for some people, right? But for some reason, Exxon, and I don't know if Exxon just doesn't want to get involved with all this. Who knows? But obviously, that was the main agenda for all of this, when it comes to Venezuela. And so,
I have heard there's been a lot of like world politics around money going to other currencies. That was passing around a lot, like little stories about how we used to buy because the U.S. economy is propped up by oil, our dollars, because Saudi Arabia has to sell it in dollars. It props up our whole economy because all that flow of money just going through our banks and using our dollars. And so there's always been a fear that there would be a shift of that it would go to the yen or it would go to Moscow or something or a new currency, right? And apparently that's like countries have been announcing they're not going to do it anymore, And so we actually are at we really would destroy our country would fall immediately if we didn't have oil propping up our dollars.
Sure, of course, but at the end of the day, there's going to be they're pushing for a one world currency. So, and the digital dollar. So at some point, that will be a kind of a universal language between countries, and so we're heading in that direction. In my feeling,
you feel it come to real fruition that we'll have just $1. One currency in the world, you feel that future?
Yeah, one world currency. Yeah, the whole thing is that's the new world order, right? Is having a one world currency, and so
I don't see them.
What's that?
I don't see them winning. I don't see them being.
Well, if you think about everything being digital, and with the whole rise of AI and the whole rise of automation, and all these countries are kind of doing the similar thing with the digital aspect and the digital nature. So it kind of feels like, how could they not do that at that point? You know what I mean? And so I was.
Yeah.
What's that?
I'm sorry. I'm sure they're planning it. I'm just saying I don't know if they can pull it off. Like really can pull it off.
Oh yeah, I'm just talking about what their plan is. I'm just talking about what their agenda is. Here. So
yeah. No, I agree. That forever. All right, my turn. Let's see here. Sorry, guys, we did not come up with the headlines. We just read them.
Your turn.
National protests in Iran. Oh no, hold on. Moscow rejects. Oh, don't worry that much. National protests in Iran result massive death toll over 2,500 demonstrators. Trump has warned Tehran he may take strong action if the government executes protesters, and has argued Iranians to continue resisting, saying help is on the way. See, he's fanning like a lot of rhetoric out there right now. Yeah.
There's a 26-year-old Iranian that was protesting, and he's actually sent to be executed. So they're giving him like an hour to say goodbye to his families, and they're going to execute just for being a protester. There, I don't know, like if again, we've heard the term peaceful protests, that we see bombs and fires going around, right? So we know how that goes. So I don't really know the extent of that, but I just saw that in the news today, like 26-year-old protesting in Iran and set to be executed. So
well, I think this is what I mean by the frequency wars, and what is that you're going to just see everything at once on fire. It appears
exactly.
With petty stuff like this. The truth, though, is if you really think about it logically, we don't have the resources to do all this at once. We don't have the training. Most of this is to freak you out.
I was just about to say that. A lot of it is like, well, don't protest, could be executed. A lot of it, I feel like it's like a smoke signal for people to be fearful of stepping up because more people are. So I'm like, is that a really true article that this one person is being executed? Is it really true, or is it just kind of to light the flame? Like, don't protest, sit down, be fearful of stepping up and going against, ICE or going against the government or going against here. So a lot of it, I think it's to fan the flames of fear for sure. Because the wonderful
Iran is fanning flames of fear. I mean, they are executing people. They are, but I don't know if it's like masses or just a few token good looking.
Well, I mean here, like how they're presenting it here, you know what I'm saying, and how they're like pushing it out to us. And I feel like it's to defend. Don't stand up, don't stay in order, because a lot more people are, and I really feel like because a lot more people. That's the wonderful thing I was saying. A lot of people are standing up. They're not fearful anymore in that sense. So that's a beautiful thing to see too. So of course they're going to try to want to retaliate. And of course, Iranian government is a whole different ballpark when they start executing citizens because of that. So, but, we're seeing it all now, though. You know what I mean?
Starting to. Is this yours? U.S. passes?
No. Trump insists that the U.S. Sorry, the little pop-up just came over. Right. Trump insists that U.S. must control Greenland, claims U.S. will acquire Greenland one way or another, implying both diplomatic and harder options to achieve this goal, argues Greenland is essential for U.S. national security and for strengthening NATO's defense posture. It's interesting because France, Germany, a couple of other countries are like standing up to protect Greenland too. So we are not just, trying to conquer Greenland. We have a lot of other countries to go through in regards to this. So it's going to be interesting to see, what do you think about Greenland being essential for our U.S. security? Do you think that's actually a facade? Is that true?
Yeah, it's true. I think at the end of the day, nothing's changed here to any other president. Our militaries are on bases everywhere on these places. And, at the end of the day, it might end up that we have a big base there. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's going to turn away. Trump is all about trumping up that, that mayhem kind of energy. But at the end of the day, one thing about our government is like, we write the laws that are crooked, but then we follow them perfectly. Like, we always follow our own law. We always do. And so I don't know, like what Trump says is not how it turns out. It might turn out, according to law, we go negotiate, we get land for a base, we build a base there. It's like, it's just all this bureaucratic, and long before, there you go, there's a big base there. And Trump will say, I told you. Kind of thing. I feel that's it. I don't see, we're not going to occupy, or anything like that. I don't feel anything like that. And honestly, yeah, we'll talk about the future, what I feel in the end. Here's the last one. U.S. House passes bill aimed to make gender-affirming medical care to youth under 18 a federal crime. Penalties up to 10 years in prison for providers. Legislation targets gender-affirming surgeries and treatments, including puberty blockers and hormone therapy. Well, this one, personally, I feel like we should not tamper with any puberty until it's done.
I think again,
I just think nothing to do with gender. It's nothing to do with gender. Don't fuck with the body until it's grown up, until it's become an adult. Like, you don't do that. I'm sorry, you just
If you can't have cosmetic surgery until 18, I think the same thing should be here. And so it was never, no one ever, I mean, this is kind of the narratives, because therapists, you have to see a therapist for several years to be even considered for surgery, and the doctor has to approve of it, and no therapist approves of anyone over it. So that was a lot of agenda going around, like, because my partner is a psychotherapist. He's like, we can never sign off of someone at 18 saying it's okay that they need to have surgery. That doesn't happen. There was talks about people trying to make that happen, but that just doesn't happen in our world. So to me, it's like it never was really done. It wasn't really happening. So there's a lot of like right-wing narratives out there saying that's what they're doing. Then they can't do it. They can't do that. I mean,
I know someone who's been trans for, who's changed gender in high school. It happens. It happened here. It does happen under 18. It does. There's no question.
Surgery?
Yes, at least they start the first.
People can be trans. Like I have trans friends too, and I have trans friends too, and they couldn't really get anything from the government until like they were an adult.
Government. No, not from the government. There's what I think in the beginning it's been a lot of like donations. Honestly, here's the thing, folks. As a person who gets past life readings, you remember your past lives from 0 to age 30. You're remembering your past lives. And I don't know if you are remembering a past life of being a woman or a man. And you're supposed to remember. Everyone does. Everyone has to remember these past lives. And I don't believe that God makes a mistake. I believe you showed up in the body you asked for. You just may not know the whole plan. And the plan might have been to incorporate change. We don't really know all the plans until age 30. That's what astrology says. Your Saturn return. The universe is like, okay, that's all we know. And from that point on, you know your soul's history through your 20s. And everything in your 20s is your soul's history. It's not original. No, nothing was original. You're repeating emotional dramas you had basically in past lives, and the emotions you had that played out. So I think honestly, if it were my way, I'd say 30, but then there'd be a lot of anger because But I also say and we pass the pill to make you older too. I mean, to make you younger, like live forever. Like that has to be also part of it. So we live longer. I do think that we should put a project on reversing aging, because I'm convinced. I'm going off a segue here, but same thing. I'm convinced that that us aging is a genetic disease. I think it's a disease we have. I honestly think the gene shows that it's not supposed to happen. So you can wait till 30 if you can live to 120. Is how
I'm glad there's a cyclical nature to existence, that we come, incarnate, we leave, we reincarnate. I enjoy the fact that I'm not in the same world forever. So I kind of enjoy that part. But I think it's just safe to say above 18, do what you please. Let's develop fully. Let's get our identity kind of established during that time. And so I just think it's safe to say, 18 is an appropriate time for anyone to make those changes. But again, it takes years of therapy to even be approved for such, even as an adult. I know people who transitioned. I have friends who transitioned, and it wasn't as easy as it's made out to be in the media. It's difficult.
Yeah,
and that they have to have therapy for several years even before that to consider they're a candidate for it. So, and of course there's gonna be extremists out there like 1 month, oh, they're a candidate. There's always be that, but the majority it's not. But and I think that there's so many different reasons why people struggle with that or have those identity merges. A lot of times it is past life merging, right? And a lot of times you see people who had a very overbearing father energy, and they just detested masculinity, and they felt more feminine, so they went that route because they felt more accepted. So there's so many different variables. I think if we focus more on mental health, it doesn't matter, because even trans people or in the Asian cultures were revered. The two-spirit, it was actually something celebrated in Asian culture. So I just think we just have to get over the label assets and understand there's a spectrum of people, and so there's always going to be a diverse energy, diverse expression. I think that's awesome. But there's also things because of mental health too. And I think that if we were more focused on mental health and less about global affairs and stealing people's possessions, I think that we would actually be more advanced and more ahead as a country. But that's the one thing that people leave for last is mental health. Our government doesn't seem to really care about those things, it seems like.
Don't get me started, but you did. I agree. And I don't think it's mental health. I think it's emotional health. I think we are calling emotional issues. As an astrologer that gets in there with people and helps them heal, most of the time they have emotional issues and emotional coping skills, and then their brain's freaking out. But it's an emotional issue. It's not a mental issue. And then we give them a mental drug.
Same thing. I mean, synonymous. The two are synonymous. The mental health, it creates emotional health. So it's just like, it's synonymous with each other. It's all to me the same, because my perspective on it is that emotions always manifest from thought and how we're choosing to focus, and the consistency of thought and focus then renders emotion. So sometimes we create emotions, we feel things we don't know why because of what we've been focusing on or how we've been processing things. And so, yeah, to me, they're both synonymous with each other.
The emotional field itself is designed to feel everything. It feels your body, it feels your heart, it feels your thoughts.
Yeah.
And so it's feeling everything. It's a register. It's a way of like controlling the remote control, to controlling the avatar. When you're incarnated, you control it through emotion. And that's the thing. We don't realize it. You control the world through emotion. I believe that our emotions can accumulate and control the weather when the government's not controlling it. I believe that. And so I think that we always have control.
Yeah, I think collectively, I definitely think collectively when people are crying, it rains a lot. We get a lot of rain. If people are sad, it crazy. I do totally believe the collective can shift, the currents. Yeah.
I think we should totally like National Pink Sky Day. If we should all be like pink sky, pink sky, pink sky, and just see if it goes pink. Because I really feel like it sounds goofy, but that's what everything is showing, is that we're in this collective mesh network, and that our consciousness is communicating through emotion. And half the time you're picking up on someone's emotion. And because you don't know how to deal with emotion, you're calling her a bitch. It's like that's how childish we are. So
and that's why. And that's what I was saying too. Like people say, like, "Oh, I'm trying to escape the matrix." Like, no, this matrix is a reflection of your consciousness too. We're all participating in what's rendering in this external world, whether you like it or not. So, we should get to resolve of what we're participating in that's creating this collective matrix that you say you don't like. And then when we resolve that, then we can lead our individual lives in peace and happiness, and then affect others as well too. So, this is I would say the external world is all out crap too. Collectively, it's a lot of crap.
Oh, I mean, everything right now is unfortunately a fairy tale of what we've been told. But I believe, honestly, we have to go to commercial after this. I believe that the way you treat yourself on the inside is the way the Matrix treats you. The way you treat yourself is the remote control. When you were nice to yourself, you bring in nice people. And when you're hard, you bring in hard people. And try it, guys, for a week. Anyone watching? Try it for a week. Try not worrying about the outer world and just respond and be nice to yourself. I mean, I'm amazed how many places I found that I thought I was being nice. And it wasn't. Seriously. Or I was ignoring. Or I was like, I'm feeling strong. And then I thought about, that's really an asshole, to myself, and I wonder why things happen that have happened. So with that said, we have some sponsors today, some amazing sponsors who care about their products. Seriously. If you're watching us on YouTube, please be kind and do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Sirius Joy TV. Please click like on this video. And if you don't mind, hit the bell button so you're notified, so we collectively defeat the algorithm overlords. The Sirius Joy Nonlinear TV Network is simulcasting right now on many media affiliates, including Instagram, X.com, and Facebook, just to name a few.
Hello, I'm Sanandra, founder of Sichi Organics. We are celebrating our 30th year anniversary as a small business with simple, clean, organic skin and hair care made with love. To celebrate our 30-year anniversary, enter code word JOY30 at checkout and you'll receive 30% off any individual Sichi skin and hair care product.
Happy anniversary, Sichi!
Step Astrology is the key to unlocking your past, your purpose, and your heart. Are you ready to understand yourself better than ever before? Enlightened edutainment awaits inside the Sirius Joy Vault. Subscribers receive in-depth insight into the planetary energies with daily texts, pep talks, and more, personalized to your unique blueprint. Subscribe now for only $3.99 your first month at SiriusJoy.com.
That's right. Actually, I'm excited. I've been getting to my artistry again, because Pep Talk is the number one thing we do every day. It's like it's a recording that goes out every day, and I'm having fun with it.
Good.
I'm just having fun. I'm going back to my old creative self, and it's been fun. It's funny how you go full circle, You are too. You're back to making music.
Oh, that's absolutely. I mean, I always do. Sometimes just like other things take precedence, like my work. Sometimes, my clients and work takes precedence. And I'm like, okay, I need to go on this end of the spectrum for a little bit now. And so, I've been taking more time off from the social media and to focus on creating, and then I bounce back on social media again, So.
Social media. Let's see how it goes. Well, we have some headlines for the zodiac weather. One, we're not calling the zodiac weather anymore. We're calling the human emotional forecast, actually, human emotional forecast, because that's what it is. It's the emotional forecast for people. And this week, according to that forecast, we had a full moon in Cancer at 13 degrees on Saturday. This hit the United States right on the United States sun. And wouldn't you believe we had our action in Venezuela? So for our birthday, we didn't capture somebody, which is kind of interesting. And by the way, don't assume you know how I feel about this, because you don't. But I'm not quite sure, what's happening in that sense. But I do think it's interesting that it hit the United States sun, because I know they didn't plan that. Yesterday, Venus conjunct the sun. That was the yearly Love Fest day. And I don't know how you felt yesterday, but the universe was pushing you to love yourself. And probably what that meant was you had to open up your heart and accept some big things, some big truths in your life. I had to. Everyone has to. And I think we have to change laundry detergents, Scott. I think we have to change. Thursday, Venus conjuncts Mars at 18 in Capricorn. So that means really what happens is it's going to be go time. So this week, today, we're kind of opening up. Well, actually, this is on Saturday. Actually, we have to rewrite these scripts because we go live on Saturday now. But only Thursday was about moving forward, like blasting forward this last week. And then on Saturday, January 10th, the sun and Capricorn will oppose Jupiter at retrograde at 20 degrees. So this weekend, as we tape this, and that means it's going to be a major tug of war between feelings. What it's coming down to is a new moon that's happening up at step 28. And that means that this is a new moon is every month, but step 28 is the highest step you have. In other words, it's the controlling step of that entire state of awareness. So like if Capricorn was like a country, number 28 would be the president, right? So we've had 5, we'll have 6 total 28-degree new moons in a row. This one in Capricorn will take the cake. This will be the one where we make the decision of how we're going to take control of our life or not. So people are basically making the decision now if they're going to take control or not of their life. And it comes down to the fact that people want to feel better. They want to feel better. And that's what the other side of Capricorn is Cancer, to feel better, right? Good decisions make you feel good. Bad decisions make you feel bad. It sets up for all of that. So basically, astrologically, I'm not going to go through all this, but we are basically being nipped and tucked and pushed down this conveyor belt to say, it's time to decide which way you're going. Can you commit to this feeling or not? And then come Aquarius, dude, I think that 28-degree new moon is going to be taking us to a new level. Like, I think that's the game begins. The universe says, okay, what do we got here? What's the playing field? What do you pick up?
Yeah, I mean, it's very simple to me. I really feel like this is a beginning point of just being grounded. I think, grounding has a lot of different, interpretations for people. And I feel like grounding right now is actually getting your hands dirty, going out there and actually doing it. If you have some sort of a skill set you want to, accomplish, like just try it out. Get physical with it. Let's get physical, right? And so it's time that we ground this in, because we're so a lot of times in the spiritual communities, we stay in la la land, we stay in our heads, we stay in our imagination a little too much, that we don't end up participating and grounding in what is above. We don't bring it below. And so we need to start bringing above to the below. And that means that we participate. It doesn't mean we have to get everything right the first time, but we have to start moving those pieces and grounding it in physical reality. And sometimes grounding means that you have to unstick yourself from situations that are actually keeping you behind and keeping you stuck, because stuck is not the same as grounded and being grounded and so forth. So a lot of times spiritual people think the term grounding means it's some sort of like stuck energy. And it's like, no, it means that you're actually solidifying what is in your consciousness, your higher mind. And so that's what we need to start doing right now. And if you always said you wanted to learn something new, learn it now, look it up, do something to get yourself in that space of grounding. So this is a starting point of such, because for the rest of 2026, the more you ground yourself, the more realizations, discoveries you make about yourself that, oh wow, I can do that, I am good at this. That evolves. You start finding a better placement for yourself, because ironically, I've been seeing a lot of people in their individual reads where it's summertime, people find new communities. Finding a community where they fit in, and I've been seeing a lot of that connection for summer of this year. So right now, it in. And this way, when you do discover what your true essence is and what you're able to do and express, then you actually attract others who are in the same wavelength as you. And no more complaining, because then you're like, why isn't everybody, on the same page? Like, well, you'll find that because you're grounded. You're grounded.
Okay. No. I think we're on the same page. To me, grounding is being in touch with your feelings. What makes you ungrounded, what makes you disrupted is your feelings. Your emotions going all these different directions. You don't know how you feel. You're not self-nurtured, and you're not grounded. I think you ground when your emotions kind of go, and calm.
Well, yeah, but we also ground when we participate.
Oh,
and we make those changes, that's the grounding I'm talking about. Because I think in 2025 we came out of the year of, almost like exhaling on things, right? Exhaling on the things that we were contemplating, and then we kind of resolve karma, right? So I think now it's like when the grounding I'm talking about here is like actually now getting your hands dirty, so to speak. You know what I mean? Because
Yes,
I think
agree.
2025, later 25, we did a lot of that. What you're saying, kind of
agree.
like okay,
No, I think this time, I don't know what it's going to be, but there's certainly an event. I'll tell you right now, sometime, I think April. I mean, the astrology all points to it. I don't know what could possibly be. I didn't know what COVID would be. I couldn't see it, but I saw it and felt it. I'm telling you, it's a similar feeling as that. So it's some sort of grab of something. I'm telling you all, it's a really dark. Nope, it appears dark, but it's not, because I think it's a lie. I think it's a grand lie. It's because I don't think they're the resources of the organization. But at the end of the day, now everyone is left to believe what they want to believe, and so that's the chaos, and that's, I think, the frequency war. And I feel what I'm seeing shown is we're just going to whistle while we work and move forward. You know what I mean? That's what Sirius Joy is.
Disrupting the disruptors. So I think that's kind of more of a phrase I'd say.
Finding your loud noise is cool in a concert. It's like you find your rhythm, you can get through anything, I think. So it's about finding a rhythm. That said, hey, it's time to get into the topic of a new year, true you. you love it. Well, this is actually good. This is good looking at things, because there's a lot of interesting stuff around New Year's. I mean, there's a lot of stuff around New Year's that we don't talk about. It's a good time. For instance, why is it on January? That's a big one. Why is it at that time of the year? Why does it matter? Does it really matter? Because astrologically, new is really, I think, Aries. But honestly, as far as end of the year, it's Scorpio. I mean, energetically, the Scorpio, the full moon in Taurus, that is the death and rebirth energetically of the year. That's technically the new year, as far as I'm concerned. It's pagan, sort of, is to be announced. But it's a good question. How do we get off of our calendars that were all lunar based?
True. Yeah. Right. But I think at the same time, there's a benefit to being in Capricorn season at the start of the year, because we were restructuring things. So it kind of makes sense for the American way.
Whoever moved it to that, wherever it ended up going the calendar, I know what the history is, but actually they must have known astrology, because that is the best time to organize your life, Capricorn. Mm-hmm. But it was a 10 calendar, 10-month year of 5 weeks each, during Rome, I think. So what is to be year of the horse? Do you know what year of the horse means? I'm not a Chinese zodiac guy.
Yeah. I don't know what the hell that means, but I know that I'm a dog in Chinese astrology, but I don't know what the year of the horse is. But I definitely know last year was a 9 year. So if anything of the horse and snake correlate with the number 9, of course, 9 is the number of mastery, right? And so if I can see and attest to it myself that we mastered a lot of freaking karma in 2025. So, and it's rough when you're trying to master something, you're going to be put to the full test, right? And we all were. And so, yeah, so that makes sense. So I'm assuming the horse and the snake somehow represent the same,
Well, the horse, I think, it's an animal. There's a story in Chinese zodiac where there's a race, and long story short, the ox is going slow, but it's starting to win, and then the rat gets on the ox and wins it at the last minute, but basically steals the race from the ox. So it's all about this order in which the animals are the order in which you unfold the years, but it's based on Jupiter every 12 years. It's basically a Jupiter transit, and so tracing your Jupiter, we can tell what year it is. They're counting that same Jupiter year. And in astrology, I do the same thing. I mean, this will be the year, but that starts, Jupiter goes into Leo in the summer. Now, step 1 in astrology is self-love. So it is the year of love in that sense. But we actually look at a 10. We hold space for 10 in our system. So it's not a 1, it's a 10, I argue. And I really think so, because we're going to take it to the next level this year. If you don't take the next level, you're not going to make it, period.
Yes, that makes sense. So this year's the horse year. So that makes sense, because we're we're picking up our pace.
Right. I think we'll be galloping and on fire. It's the fire horse here. Yeah. I mean, and on fire. Yeah. Good.
But in numerology, 10 is a 1, because the only double digit numbers that remain are 11, 33, right? And so, but a 10 would be a 1 anyways. So, it's the same thing in a sense.
See, to me, that's only someone, you and I know that there's psychic awareness there. Everyone else doesn't see it there, so it doesn't exist. To me, to not know there's a 0 there after that means you're not holding space for the next value. You're just going to keep it at a 1 and always be a 1. So I argue with, numerology. I say, yes, and you just go in circles. We go up because it's 10 and then 20 and then so forth, but this is not the place for it. It was a 9 year last year. I'm a 9. Yes, I was tested on every fucking thing last year. Every single thing. I cannot. Everything that was an issue that I ever worried about, I had to face. Everything. So it was a 9-year, and to me, it felt like a karate movie.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah,
I was
so
just like,
saying.
the whole time. Okay, we're
Yeah.
done. How about Forbes? You want to read that one?
According to Forbes, 91% of New Year's resolutions fail every year. Why do New Year's resolutions fail? Well, because it's stupid. I think people, I always like to say every year is a new chapter, not a new year, new you bullshit. Because, it's almost like we have to forget everything of our past. And like, not everything of who you were in the past is bad either. There's some good qualities of yourself that you have up to this point. So we need to revamp your whole personality. People look at it in that way, and they make too many leaps that are unrealistic. So it's like, let's evolve. So if you want to lose 50 pounds, don't say, well, I'm going to lose 50 pounds this year. Say, well, I'm going to start next month with losing 5, and take it in increments. The problem is people leap too far when they haven't done any progress before. And so it's the extremist energy of like, okay, it's New Year, I got to do everything now. It's like, if we took things step by step, then we get the little rewards. Yay, I lost 5 pounds. I'm going to do 5 more. Yay, I lost 10 pounds. You know what I mean? We feel rewarded. Mm-hmm. And so we don't do it we actually are doing it because of expectation, and so that's why they fail, because it tends to be too unrealistic for where people are at when they make the resolutions.
I'm sorry, but we have not taught a kid to do anything, and unless it's an app, it's not going to happen. That's where we're at. The truth is to have, I don't know. I'm very proud of myself and my Midwestern work ethics, because I can sit out and say I'm going to do this, and I will do it. But that's because I will get up on Wednesday and then Thursday and Friday. And that's what happens. People don't have that inner disciplinarian to stand over themselves and say to themselves, we're not going to get there unless we do it today, because it usually lasts about 3 or 4 days. When the moon moves a new sign, I don't feel like it anymore.
I personally, I don't stop until it gets like, I just sometimes I'm so extreme the other end where like I have to get it done. Like I do it now. I got to do it now. I got to do it. I can't wait on it, and I'll keep until I get it done. I'm very, very adamant like that with things. Me
too. I can't sleep. You work too much. It's not done.
Yeah,
it's not done. How can we reflect on? Let's see. How can we reflect on the previous year and make progress in the new year? I don't think this last year applies. In fact, I'll be honest with you. Even this show doesn't apply. I think what happens is somewhere around March, nothing will matter. You will not even care anything about anything before that time. That's how profound I think the shift is. It's so big, no one even thinks about the past. I think it's one of those moments where we're just like, everything falls out of our mouth. We can't believe it. I'm not sure what it is. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it could be something very good. Like God comes down and says hi. It could be, who knows, but it's something to that. It's something to the level of like, oh my, I don't think any of it matters. So in this particular year, I don't think it matters.
I just think that in order to, to reflect on previous years, you have to resolve it emotionally and intellectually. Some people want resolutions, but they don't want to resolve the past. And so a lot of people just want to forget about it. And so I feel like we should not forget about it. We should get to a point where we can look and say, yeah, these are things I went through. Here's where I stand because of it. And this is where I'm going because of it as well. So we have to stop trying to run away from things. That's where I think people make these unrealistic resolutions. Like I try to run away so much from this. I'm going to go all the way here. It's like, so let's slow it down. We can still gallop, but we can also not have to run away from our past and the things that have happened. I got to a point where even all the negative stuff that I had, people say, you're so candid about all the horrible things that happened to you. I said, because I come to terms with it. It's like a notch on my belt at this point. If it wasn't for those things, I wouldn't have the perspectives I have now, or the skill sets and abilities I have now because of those things. That's how we're supposed to be with our past. And if you're not there, you need to strive to get there, because then you can reflect on years past, like, wow, look how much I've grown, or look how far I've come, and look what more I can do because of it. That's the mindset we should have. This way, it won't be like, oh, it's a yearly thing anymore. We won't be thinking that way. And I would say that my mom, I talk to my mom every day, and I'm like, well, Mom, Mother's Day is for people who don't talk to their moms. It's kind of like, I appreciate you. We talk all the time and we hang out all the time. We do things all the time. Right. And I feel like that's what New Year's is for. People who don't really check in with their lives until every New Year. We should be checking in all the time. Yeah,
we should. Well, we got to check in with ourselves. I mean, honestly, I feel we have to be committed to ourselves and feeling good in ourselves. And until you can master your moment, fuck the year. You're not going to get a year. You have to get a moment. To me, it's day to day. Really, if you just master tomorrow, you'll be on the path of mastery. That's it. You really have to master this moment. What you've learned right now in this moment, do your best, and you're on your way. It's that simple. And I think, and you'll be led intuitively. You don't have to have the path. You have to know. You'll find it just falls right in front of your lap. Always. The job, the person, the opportunity, like it always just falls in front of your lap, period. Because I think we attract it into our life, you know? So
yeah, it's a both. We attract because we're psychic enough to smell it. You know what I mean? And when we're true to ourselves in our rhythm, in our flow, which many people don't even know what the fuck the flow means. The big flow is just, I'm just like positive all the time. That's flow. That's not flow. That's a lot of times that being overly positive is putting your head in the sand and you're avoiding things. So for me, when you're in an actual true flow, you can smell it out. Like, I got to go here, and then people pick up on your vibe, and that's the true essence of attraction. Is that people just think sitting at home they're going to attract it. Oh, it's supposed to just come to me. It's like, no, you're supposed to move toward it too. And you do that, you're intuitive to know where to go at the right place at the right time. It's like autopilot. That's the intuitive flow. You're an autopilot and things just line the fuck up because we all have that ability, you know? And so how do we set New Year's resolutions and have we in the past? Do we set New Year's resolutions and have we in the past? I don't understand the way that's worded.
But I teach, here's the thing. Capricorn, yes, you set your New Year's resolutions in Capricorn. In Capricorn, I just said, like, you're going to be committing on the new moon, actually 2 days before the new moon. Everyone's going to commit to what their plan is for control. How many control? And it's played on small roles. So you might be like, oh, I'm taking back control of my company, or I'm going back and control of my family, or I'm giving up control of this because it's too much. But everyone will make a major control decision, guaranteed, in the next 7 days. Watch in your life. It'll be one little aspect of your life. But that little aspect of your life will represent the way you control everything. And so it becomes a precedent for how you control for the whole year, and that's what the conjunction, of a new moon does. You're setting basically the law for the year for you. It's for you. You don't have to stick to it if you don't want to, So I think what is control, ironically. That's why it's interesting that New Year's became there, because it used to be pagan on Halloween.
Yeah, and I also think people need to understand that every year is, like I said before, a chapter. And so we got to understand our place for things before we actually set a resolution, because we have to understand which the theme is for the year. Of course, there's been a generalized theme for 2025 was resolving karma, coming to a good point of realization of such, right? And so the theme for 2026, generally speaking, is like putting it in place, grounding, putting it in movement, putting it in motion. So we have to understand what that means, because so many people just want to think that everything has to manifest now. And there's a chapter for things. What is your chapter for financial, peak of financial wealth, and which chapter is it? Which timing is it for that break of careers? So many people think they're supposed to do it yesterday. It's like, well, there's chapters, and you got to be in tune to understand at which part of your trajectory do those things lie. So then you focus on the evolution accordingly. So many people think, there's something wrong because I'm not wealthy now. It's like that's not in your rhythm right now. You have unresolved karma that blocks your financial abundance. You have karmic debts to pay because you deprive people of things that you don't have until maybe another 2 years before that's open for you, right? And so people don't understand that. And so we understand how we are in cyclical nature with our own evolution. Then we can understand the timing of things and how to really set the right, proper resolutions that actually would work and actually you would be successful in. And I had a lot of reads saying 2026 for certain people, it's actually all about meeting new people. It's not about love for you. I said, and I said, it's actually about community, which will lead you to love, because your next chapter is like understanding being accepted by others, and having that joy of acceptance, and that will actually launch you to love. And so many people are like, oh, I have to wait that long. It's like, it's not about waiting. Do you want to evolve? You just want to have things, right? And so that's why I think people fail with resolutions.
100%. Well, I also think it's like, I'm waiting for this and nothing's moving forward. That's because you got other shit to do. There must be a lesson.
Right.
There's some other lesson right here you're skipping. And because when it comes together, it comes together. It just all comes together. You'll see opportunity, everything. I'm even amazed. I mean, in a couple of people's lives, clients' lives, I said to them, look, I know this seems bad. It's just a final test. I swear to God, it's a final test. You just got to get through it. And here's all the thing. And sure enough, like fortune started coming right in, like as far as opportunity money. Yeah. Letter from the IRS, he's owed a refund. It's just like, seriously, it's like, when the fuck do you get that? They voluntarily write you. We think you're overpaid. So the point is, like,
what's awesome, Christopher, too, right now? What's awesome is that people are wanting to know what it is now. I'm finding more people than I've had a client that she's like, I had you like 7 years ago or 8 years ago, and she came back and it had been that long, and she's like, you're so different. Like, you're really like encompassing like everything. And it's like, yeah, I was trying to be fortune teller about things. I was trying to prove my worth then. I'm not anymore. But she came to a point where she's also hungry to know, like, okay, what is the process I'm in now? How do I get through it instead of trying to get what I want? And so I'm finding more and more people are saying, I want to know, like, how do I get through this? And so that's been a wonderful change I've seen with a lot of my clients and reads, is that instead of saying, well, how do I get what I want?
I'm seeing it too, actually. I'm seeing that finally it's like a light bulb went off, and they're like, how do I do it? It's like, you wouldn't even listen to me 5 years ago. I don't hold your breath. Right. It's just what it is. Look, we've realized a Sirius Joy. We're like, oh my goodness, that last 10 years, that was a dress rehearsal. I think that's what it was. It was a dress rehearsal. We're gonna start over, put on the suit again, greet the customers. It's like it's gonna be one more round and it really was for us. But it was us. For us, it was like, oh, we are light workers. We can't help people. We know what we're talking about does work and change. So you had to have that path. So we're in an interesting moment, guys. I think when it gets into Aquarius, it gets really crazy. We have at the end of this month, we have a Leo event, the Leo moon. The Leo moon in 13 degrees, actually in February, at the beginning of February. That is actually the holy shit moment, because it's that, and we have Saturn and Neptune 0 degrees conjunct at 54 minutes exactly. So they're conjunct exactly 0, and the sun, one of the other planets is 0 at the same time. So you don't see that many zeros. Like usually everything goes to a beginning at the same time. That's a reboot in our opinion. And so from there, it looks like there's a couple of 5D jumps that happen. And and by the way, I give that all out in the 2026 video, by the way, guys, which you can get still and purchase. I think you have to see it. If you don't see it, you're gonna miss out on something. And I have something called now a way date. And that the way date is when things go way big. But it's really Witecki algorithm investment. It's like, this is a moment where it's like, my algorithm that I've come up with, this is the day. Like I'm trying, that's what I've been maximizing, is like trying to figure out the algorithm. When do you jump? When do you fire? When do you make your move? How do you know to make your move? To me, that is like the play game, the playbook. So I'm trying to help people play the game now. New Year's Guru, still for sale, and a calendar too. And a calendar. Well, no, it's like finally after it's like, dude, this is my 20th year. I finally have a calendar for my phone, like that has all my astrology.
We got the pictures are in there.
Oh my god, yeah, no pictures in there. There's surprise Easter eggs in there too.
Okay,
little special things. Mm-hmm.
The sizzling seasons of Sirius Joy calendar should be named it, right?
This is countdown. This is not Sirius Joy. This is like my own personal thinking thing.
Okay, I was just saying you should do like a sizzling seasons of Sirius Joy.
Yeah, it's like, would not be surprised if he popped up one day. That'd be cool.
But you should do that. Like for each month, you have a person that works with Sirius Joy, and they represent that month, right? Sizzling seasons, and I'll be the aqua.
Yeah, you should. Well, like I was going to talk to you. I want to put your birthday in there. Is that all right?
My birthday's Groundhog Day.
Yeah, can I put it in there though?
February 2nd.
I want to put like Scott Cruz's birthday. Wish me happy birthday.
Yeah, 2/2, and then Eric's birthday is on Valentine's Day. Isn't that funny? So I'm Groundhog's Day. He's Valentine's Day. That's
funny because my grandparents were Valentine's Day and the day before.
Were they really?
They were twin flames. I swear to God. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. They knew.
I feel like more and more. I mean, with Eric, I feel like he's like the twin flame energy. Not that we're two souls split, but like we're so like always always in sync. Eric and I. Every day, and we live together. We both work from home. We never get on each other's nerves. We're always laughing. We're always like doing the same. So it's like I never felt that much synergy with someone before.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Actually, honestly, what you say there, I think a lot of people are going to fall in love. I think I know for me, I've always felt this, that once the work was done and we were in the show was running, then I felt like that's the time to enjoy. And I think a lot of us light workers, Gen Xers, we did a lot of work. We had Pluto and Libra. We did a lot of work to clean up relationships in this lifetime, a lot. And we are deserving of a break. And I think there's a graduation for us. You're already pioneering. You're ahead, you know. You're a millennial though, aren't you? Pluto and Scorpio, or I don't know.
Well, I mean, we went through this before. If I'm like a xennial, because I'm 1982, so
it could be either depending on where Pluto was.
Yeah, so wherever it was, February 2nd of 1982. That's what I mean. I always look it up. It always says I'm still millennial, but some say it's a xennial based on I think maybe Vedic astrology. So I don't know.
I have a great Vedic astrologer coming on our show on Saturday night, guys.
Good. That's good.
Yeah, we have now. So this is Saturday night. I forgot. We're live on Saturday. So that show is earlier. Just prior to the show. I think it aired just now. So we're going to get used to this. We're going to get this down. But yeah, and the shows are doing great numbers wise on Saturday nights. People enjoy it. So guys, get some popcorn, whatever you do, smoke out, drink, hang out with us, and just chill out. We're going to read out loud. Now, and most variety commercials. Yeah. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, that's good.
I think that's it. So the year's begun. What else do we say? We're done. We're done with the old.
We're good. What are we talking about next week? Did we say what our shows next week? Do we know what's next week?
No, I mean,
Leadership.